Hi, my name is Mason Nichols. I'm a sophomore here at Purdue University, and I'm majoring in construction, engineering, and management, and I'll be graduating in May of 2025. So this past semester and summer, I've interned with two different companies. I worked with the Walt Disney Company as a attraction operations and safety intern. That's where I found my love for working with people, working with safety, and ultimately creating experiences with people that will last a lifetime. I wasn't in the construction program at the time, but somehow, some way, I got a door open with PCL Construction, and I worked in their Orlando buildings office in Florida as a field engineer, and I got to work on a really cool entertainment project. And that's where I found my passion for construction and what has led me to major in construction engineering and management here. So I can't talk about the project that I worked on because it's under a non-disclosure agreement, but I can talk about the previous projects we've worked on, which are relatively similar to what I'm currently working on. So these are the former projects that PCL Construction has worked on. I'm sure many of you have seen these before. Over here in the top left, we have the Hogsmeade Village from Harry Potter. We have Diagon Alley, Escape from Gringotts, as well as we've done some work with the Disney Cruise Line. So this is one of the smaller teams in the PCL buildings office. We do a lot of commercial work, build stadiums, work on education and entertainment, which is this section here. But what's really unique about these projects is the intimacy of them, the fact that these are facilities that people consistently interact with and can build memories in. And that's what really compelled me to work on these, because the fact that I can hopefully one day when my project opens see photos on people's Instagrams and on their stories of the fire-breathing dragon and just be able to think, I built that and I helped give these people an experience that they're going to remember forever. So what really also compelled me about the entertainment industry and this little corner of the construction industry that not too many people know about is just the intersection of complete insanity that it is. And I'm going to zoom in here because every single one of these photos I could talk for 5 minutes about. All the unique components that go into them, all of the interactions, and the way that they all play in with each other. So in the top left here, none of these are projects that PCL has worked on other than the Hogwarts train, but this tilting roller coaster is something that we had to implement in Gringotts. And if I could talk about every single discipline that went into making this happen, I would be here for 30 minutes. We have to have these electrical engineers and mechanical engineers figure out how to make the thing tilt, and the only people smart enough to do that are all the way over in Europe, and then we have to go through all this translation, and it's just this total madness of communication and complete coordination nightmare, and that's what makes it so fun. Moving on from that, we have the Hogwarts train, Hogwarts Express, I believe it's called. This is something that PCL did work on. My mentor, Seamus Turnbull, was actually in charge of this when he was working on that development. And it's this train that, there's two trains, and they pass over each other, they go back and forth, and it's this totally unique thing that really hasn't been done before. And that's what's really interesting about this intersection of insanity. It's people trying to figure it out, not necessarily as you go, but nobody's done it before. There's no clue on how to do it, and figuring it out is the most rewarding and fun part, and I've had my few share of experiences with that over the summer. So then moving down here, I really want to highlight on this one because I worked here. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, right here is the Millennium Falcon, that steel structure, and you can see it's this total spider web of steel that they had to erect with the crane right here, and it's just a coordination nightmare. Nobody's ever seen a steel structure like this before, let alone figured out how to erect it, and figuring that out is something so rewarding and so interesting. And then finally, in the bottom left, the Epcot ball. I talked to one of the Imagineers that was responsible for the creation of Epcot, and he told me about the coordinations they had trying to figure out how to build this thing. And they hired a dome contractor. And what they ultimately did was they split it into two, because this dome contractor said, you know, we can build a dome upside down, we can build it right side up, we can build it 50 feet in the air, we can do it whatever you want. So what they proposed was, let's build a dome upside down, support it with this beam here, and then ultimately after that, let's send this giant rod through the whole thing, and then build another dome on top. So that's how they built the Epcot ball in a complete nutshell, and that just goes to show how unique and interesting these projects really are, especially with all the finishes and show sets that go on top of those. Another thing that's really interesting about the entertainment industry, especially in the world of construction, is the safety factor. we're all familiar with ASTM and OSHA. We're all currently getting our OSHA 10-hour training. That's part of our Purdue curriculum. But there's two more really big components in the ASTM F24 committee, as well as the AIMS International Safety Seminar. Really, these are two more committees that not necessarily that we have to worry about, but that we have to work with and incorporate their standards into our work. And safety and entertainment is a huge thing. Over here on the left is an image of the Icon Park drop tower, which I believe it was over second semester of last year, where a kid unfortunately lost his life in an incident there. And we led a case study, ASTM F24, and they found the cause, figured out what happened, and we implement standards and new procedures to avoid that from ever happening again. ASTM F24 actually just recently won a case study on their F770 standard, which is another interesting thing that you can read about in the future. And ultimately, it's this intersection of safety with everything else that makes this a really interesting and fun industry to work in. So my greatest triumph over the summer, the greatest experience I learned, was finding the intersection where I best fit, finding out what I'm good at, and kind of the point in the spider web where I can complete the most work, I can do my best work. So I found that was in safety. I volunteered with AIMS, and I actually spoke there the first week of this semester about the safety standards of construction and how we can implement those into theme park operations, as well as include those in more construction aspects such as roller coasters and things along that line. Moving on from that, I found my strengths in the world of construction. I found that I was really good at show sets, and I'll go back over here to this photo. Specifically right here, this is really similar to some of the stuff I worked on. These really unique structures and steel things and all these finishes that we have to do and stuff that you just don't really see anywhere else. I found a really strong strength in coordinating that and figuring out how to do that, as well as underground electric. I'm not very good at working with attractions, I found out, but something that, we live and we learn. And then finally, my favorite part about it is creating something that millions of people are going to experience. Once again, that unique, intimate environment where people get to interact with the facility that we've built and develop these memories and truly never forget it. And that's the most rewarding part for me, being able to have an impact in these people's lives, although it's something I worked on 15 years ago. So ultimately, that's really what I love about it. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed.